Zillow economists have come out with what they expect to happen with home values in 2025. Let's see what they have to say.
I keep it real, I keep it real, I keep it real, just keep it real.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Sam Hartman, keeping it real estate here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And as always, my mission is to bring clarity to you as consumers so that you can make confident real estate decisions. If you're new to my page, make sure you like and subscribe. But if you're returning, leave me a comment about the types of questions that you have, because I want to make sure I'm answering those on my page as well. And so this is timely information coming out from Zillow, because I actually just had a few clients send me articles this week saying that home prices are expected to fall 20%. And there's these news articles and news headlines going out and around of economists saying that home values are going to come down 20%. And I think I've been pretty clear in some of my content and the data that I'm showing and reviewing in these videos that that's not my expectation. So I like to cover other entities as well and what their expectations are going to be. So let's dive into this one. So this week, Zillow economists announced that they expect U.S. home prices to rise 2.9% between October 2024 and October 2025. Now, the Zillow economists released this quote with the data saying that this is an upward revision to our outlook from last month. Opposing forces are working to keep home values climbing, but only at a modest pace. Inventory remains very low by historic standards, which, paired with expectations for declining mortgage rates and modest improvements in other leading indicators of home sales, is helping to buoy home value appreciation. But at the same time, modest increases in new for-sale listings and the persistently high mortgage rates are combining to limit that overall price growth. Now, that's the quote coming from the Zillow economists. And so while Zillow economists predict a 2.9% increase in the national home prices next year, they're only expecting a small increase in existing home sales in 2025. With an estimate of 4.3 million sales in 2025, that's only up slightly from the 4.1 million transactions that were recorded in 2023 and almost about 4 million that's projected to finish out the year of 2024. Now, this is a handful of years right in a row where we're seeing record lows in the number of transactions, and a lot of people looked to that and said that prices typically follow transactions. If transactions are down, prices should be coming down. But we haven't seen that in 23. We haven't seen that in 24. And this Zillow report, even with still having low transaction counts in 2025, is still expecting modest price growth at 2.9%. So with that, Zillow takes a look at the top 400 markets across the United States. So let's take a look at the top 10 lists of markets that are expected to have the highest appreciation over the next 12 months. Coming in at number 10 is Muncie, Indiana with 5.3, Bangor, Maine at 5.3, Concord, New Hampshire 5.6%, Lewiston, Maine, 5.7%, Vineland, New Jersey, 5.7%, Knoxville, Tennessee, 5.8%, Pottsville, Pennsylvania, 5.9%, Augusta, Maine, 6.1%, Kingston, New York, 6.1%, and Atlantic City, New Jersey, 6.5%. So these are the projections over the next 12 months of price appreciation that these top 10 markets might see. Now, most of these are concentrated on the East Coast. So this is pretty typical with what we've seen. Our East Coast does not quite have the same land and space to develop and grow. So they are a piece of the market that is remaining pretty restricted in terms of the inventory coming to market. They're just restricted on what builders are able to build, where they're able to build them. They don't have the space to do that. So supply demand is remaining kind of in a tougher imbalance on the East Coast. But did you notice at number 10, Muncie, Indiana snuck its way in there? We also have this really cool interactive map where you can take a look at all the top 400 markets and what expectations are. And so although Fort Wayne, Indiana didn't make that top 10 list, we are above expectations from that national average of 2.9%. And Zillow has an estimate for Fort Wayne at 4.1%. So that's very positive. For Fort Wayne's market, we're above the average. And this is right in line with what I always say about Fort Wayne, Indiana's market. Our highs are not as high and our lows are not as low. I want to remind everybody, in the worst of worst situations in 2008 with the housing crash and the great financial crisis, the national picture of real estate depreciated 20% over a 5-year period. Fort Wayne, Indiana only depreciated 5% in that same time. So this is just a great example of how conservative Fort Wayne, Indiana's market is. We still remain an affordable market across the country. And so these are really positive things for our home buyers, our home sellers, and just the general health of our real estate market as a whole. Now let's take a look at the bottom top 10 list, some of the top 10 markets that are at the highest risk for price declines over the next 12-month period. If you're a home buyer in these markets, or if you're looking to relocate in these markets, you might just have pretty major negotiating power over the next 12 months. So we'll notice the switch in trends where a lot of the top appreciating markets were on the East Coast. Let's start this top 10 list again, where you'll see the trend where a lot of these are taking place on the East Coast, and every property on this top 10 list is actually expected to depreciate in value. So when I say a percentage here, this is actually a depreciating percentage. And so number 10 is Hammond, Louisiana, minus 2.9%. Number 9, Shreveport, Louisiana, minus 2.9%. Number 8, Odessa, Texas, minus 3%. Number 7, Beaumont, Texas, minus 3.1%. Number 6, Eureka, California, minus 3.4%. Number 5, New Orleans, Louisiana, minus 3.8%. Number 4, Johnstown, Pennsylvania, minus 3.9%. Number 3, Lafayette, Louisiana, minus 4%. Number 2, Houma, Louisiana, minus 5.8%. And number 1, Lake Charles, Louisiana, minus 7.8%. So we're seeing a ton of Louisiana there, some Texas. I'm actually a little bit surprised I didn't see some Florida in there, with how much Florida is being hit with affordability challenges, not just on prices and mortgage rates, but insurance costs and the storms and the hurricanes that they've been through recently. So I'm surprised that we don't see that in the Florida markets, but that is your top 10 list for the highest likely depreciating markets over the next 12 months as well. So what should you do with this information? Well, people are always asking, is now a good time to buy? And I'm not going to answer that question for you, but I am here to bring you this information so that you can make an informed decision. As you're sitting around the table with family at the holidays and Uncle Jim says that he read an article that home prices are expected to depreciate by 20%, fact check him. Get his sources. Try to figure out where he's coming from, because a lot of these articles I've seen are a lot of feelings and a lot of anecdotal evidence, but not a lot of hard data behind it as well. So anything I bring to you isn't going to be brought on by feelings, isn't going to be brought on by just emotion or reaction to emotions, but it's going to be brought on by analytical data. So that's what I want to bring to you. I want to bring that clarity, help instill that confidence that you need to go out into the real estate world and make confident real estate decisions. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. I'm Sam Hartman, keeping it real estate in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Keep it real out there, guys.
I keep it real, just keep it real.